Hello everyone and welcome yet again to another video of Tutorials Point. Well, yes, you have read the title right. In an interview, it's not just your skills or your qualifications or your experience that matters, or no matter how perfect answers you give. Well, there is another X factor that is involved, and that is how do you actually connect or how do you actually impress the interviewer, right? So impress here doesn't precisely mean that you're kind of, it's kind of a flattery or something like that. Well, not really. It is more from the aspect of connection, right? If you're able to create that bond or that connect, during an interview, well, you are done. There is nothing more that you need to do. It is a normal thing, right? Forget an interview, even if it is a normal interaction with any person. If you're able, or if you actually find that there is some, if you feel that your vibrations are matching, don't you think that that relation goes for it actually has a long way to go? Well, actually it has. So same thing goes, it is the same thing that happens during an interview as well. Along with your skills and your, whatever your qualifications or your experience, or no matter how good you are at your work, there is also a connect which is required. And if you're able to forge that, well, then there is nothing else that you need to do. So let's go ahead and see as to what are the subtle nuances which you can actually apply to create that connect with your interviewer. Okay, now first thing, observe and imitate. Well, that actually doesn't mean that you're going to imitate the way he or she is speaking or the way he or she is doing things. What it actually means is, it is very important to observe the aura of your interviewer. Well, every person has a different kind of a body language, has a different kind of, way of presenting himself or herself. And if your vibrations with that particular person can only match if you're able to kind of understand the body language of that person, and you're able to sync it with that of yours. Well, same thing is what would actually help you here as well. So here, if you observe your interviewer very keenly, is your interviewer kind of a person who is very friendly, or is your interviewer kind of a person who is more into professional stuff, or is he or she more into presentation stuff? What is it? That is something which you just get to know, and it's not just like restricted to your interviewer. This is something which you can apply with any person that you meet. Don't you think that, just in the first look itself, you're able to kind of feel, or you're able to understand just something about that particular person, right? You definitely get, just with the way that person is dressed up, or just with the way that person speaks, definitely there is, a vibration which is attached to it. There is an aura which surrounds every person, and once you're able to understand that, well, then what is it that is left for you? So once you observe your interviewer, then accordingly, it would definitely be a good idea to sync your body language with that of the interviewer, because obviously if you're able to do that, there is no doubt that you definitely would be able to create a connect. And not just with the interviewer, this is something that you can apply in your day-to-day life as well, right? So first and the foremost thing is observe. The power of observation is actually humongous. It can actually help you. It can help you a lot, right? So that is the same thing which you're going to apply here. So observe your interviewer and try to sync your body language with that of the interviewer. Okay, well, this is the second point. Don't save your questions to the end. Well, if you read it in the first go, I'm sure you're confused as to why. Really? Do you think this is going to help? Well, actually, if packaged the correct way and at the right time, this definitely is going to benefit you a lot, right? So let us assume that you are maybe just walking the interviewer through your qualifications, or through your work experience, or through your expertise, and while you are doing that, you're just able to pitch in, well, this is my particular area of specialization, and this is something that I'm really passionate about, and I want to do something in this field. Well, are there any projects which are coming up related to this in the company, in the organization? Because I feel that I definitely would be able to perform a lot in those projects. So it's not that you actually overtly expressed your question, or just out of nowhere you shot a question to the interviewer. Well, not really, not that way. But while you were busy in a particular conversation, the way you packaged it and the way you sold it to an interviewer, obviously it didn't look like something that was just out of the blue, right? It just came out of the fact that you're so intrigued, that you're so curious to know about, or you're so passionate to work that you want to know, is there something coming up of late? Do you really think there's something that has come up and I can actually apply this knowledge of mine in that particular project, or in that particular field in this organization? So what did you do? You, in a way, you actually portrayed, or you displayed your keen interest in that particular work role, right? So once you do that, well, then of course it's going to definitely create it's going to create a very, very good impression, and I'm sure your interviewer would definitely be impressed, because who doesn't want to hire an employee who's so passionate and so high spirited to work, isn't it? So of course, it is a good idea, and definitely in every interview, the interviewer in the end definitely asks you that, do you have any questions or something like that. But here, it would be a very, very good idea, and it is definitely going to help you a lot if you're able to package your questions while you are busy explaining your qualifications or your work experience or your particular area of interest. If you're able to pitch in your question and package it in a way that it doesn't just look so out of the blue, then definitely it's going to help you a lot. So, well, though it is a good idea to ask questions in the end, but if asked in the right way, well, they can take you way ahead. Okay. Well, last but not the least, pay attention to the interviewer's answer. That is something that is very important. Well, every interview is kind of a spree of questions and answers, right? So it's kind of whatever you answer, the interviewer is going to pick up his or her next question from your answer, right? So here now, what you have to do is, it's kind of a role reversal. So here you should be paying much more attention to what are the answers. Now here you asked a question, right? You just happened to pitch in your question while you were busy explaining your expertise or your qualification or your experience, and you got an answer from the interviewer. Now, what is it that an interviewer is primarily focused on while he or she is answering? Is it more on is it more of a theory kind of thing, or is it more number basis, or what is it that actually interviewer answers? So the moment you're able to find out what is it that interviewer actually answers, that shows that what kind of answers is he or she expecting from you. Is it more of number game which the interviewer is interested in, or is it more of concept or theory, or is it communication, or what is it that the interviewer has answered? So the moment you get to know the answer of the interviewer, you definitely will get a clear picture of how you should be moving ahead in that particular interview while you are being faced with different questions, right? So that is the importance, and that is how this small thing of asking question in between and pitching in a question in between, which is very, very work related and very, very oriented towards your area of interest, this is how it is going to help you going forward in the interview, right? So very smart move. You nicely framed the question, and now after getting an answer from the interviewer, you have a clear picture as to how you have to answer the questions which you will be you'll be faced with going forward in the interview, right? So a very, very smart strategy to apply, but definitely you need to practice it a lot, because it might even backfire at you if you're just kind of very, very way too curious, and you're way too you lack a lot of patience, and you being way too impatient to ask questions. Well, that also kind of could backfire at you. But Again, pitching your right question at the right time in the right way is going to help you a lot, and the answer which you're going to get is definitely going to be your key to cracking that interview. So friends, this was all about impressing your interviewer while you're giving an interview. We will see you again in the next video. Till that time, keep learning with tutorials, point and tutorics. Have a good day.